25(3)D. This is to be concurrent with the term as to count 4. Count 3, a conviction of Penal Code Section 664, 187 as willful, deliberate, and premeditated murder. Defendant is sentenced to an indeterminate life term.
Sorry to have me on it, but life in prison. And I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes. I'm not just some gangbanger that she tried to portray me as.
If Mr. Spencer's bullets had killed not only Gino Hall, but any of...
If you're small, just play big. Big hearts win a game.
In today's video, we're going to be speaking about Geezy from the Rollin 40s, aka Tiny Hardhead's blood brother. We're going to break down everything from how he was a football star to how he would be shot at the USC campus. But let's dive right into it. In 2009, Geezy, aka Gino Hall, was named the most versatile and feared player for the Crenshaw High's 14-1 football team. And he would play on offense, on defense, and he would be on the receiving team. And in them 15 games, he would have 6 touchdowns on kickoff returns, 8 touchdowns on receptions, and 1 touchdown rushing. And in 2009, which would be that same exact year, he was named the City Selection Player of the Year as a wide receiver. He would go on to play college ball at West Los Angeles College. And eventually, he was looking to make the jump to D1 college football programs. But in 2012, Geezy would be shot outside of a Halloween party at USC. It happened on October 31st of 2012 at about 11:38 at night. And according to police, Geezy would be there with some Rollin 40 members, and they would run into somebody named Brandon Spencer, who was part of BPS. And according to witnesses, Brandon Spencer would ask Geezy where he was from, and Geezy would respond and say Rollin 40s. That's when the dude from BPS would pull out a revolver and open fire on the group, and he would hit Geezy and 3 other people, and he would be hit in the back of his leg, and in the back of his thigh. He would also be hit in his arm. And according to witnesses, they would tell police that there was 2 suspects. So police would now be on the lookout for 2 suspects wearing red. And they would spot Brandon Spencer, who was the dude from BPS, in another parking lot nearby. He was then detained and searched. But this is where things get tricky, because when he was detained, an officer would go through his cell phone without a warrant. And even though at this time they didn't have a warrant, they would still go through his saved pictures. And they would come across a video of him at a gun range, a video of him and other BPS members driving around, asking people where they were from. And they would also find a picture of BPS graffiti, and they would see a picture of a revolver. And don't forget, that was the gun that was used for the shooting at USC. And even though they illegally searched his phone, they would use them videos and pictures to obtain a search warrant. They would then be able to search Geezy and Brandon Spencer, who was from BPS, both their cell phones and Twitters. And when they did that, they would come across evidence of both Geezy and Brandon Spencer, who was from BPS, arguing on Twitter. They would even have Twitter messages of them threatening one another. Brandon Spencer, who was the dude from BPS, would then be arrested that same exact day. But since it was 12 o'clock at night, they would put November 1st of 2012. And he would be arrested for 4 counts of attempted murder. He would then have to sit in the county jail for the next year and some change. But on January 16th of 2014, he would start jury trial. And during the trial, prosecutors would say that Brandon Spencer, who was the member from BPS, would have criminal street gang ties, and he was a documented, well-known gang member, and he also been shot in the stomach in August of 2011. The DA would even claim that Brandon Spencer, who was from BPS, was seeking revenge that night. But they would subpoena Geezy, and he would testify and say he was talking to his girlfriend at the time he was shot, and he didn't know who shot him or why. But they would have 3 other witnesses from the scene that testified and say that Brandon Spencer, who was from BPS, shot Geezy and 3 others. And even though his phone was illegally searched at first, they would use the evidence from the warrant, which was the same exact evidence that they seen at first. But after a month of trial, on February 10th of 2014, he would be convicted by a jury, and he would be found guilty on all counts. And they would give him 40 years to life. And in that same year of 2014, Geezy would return to the football field, and he would play college ball for New Mexico. And in that 2014 season, he would have 13 receptions for 189 yards, and he would also have 1 touchdown. But that right there was the only stats that we can find online. So it looks like 2014 might have been his last year playing football. But unfortunately in 2018, he would lose his brother in a drive-by shooting, and his brother went by the name Tiny Hardhead. And some may be familiar with the name Tiny Hardhead because Crip Mac speaks about him a lot. And if you're wondering, this picture right here would be Tiny Hardhead and Geezy. But we made a video about Tiny Hardhead also, go check it out if you haven't. But like we just said, unfortunately, Tiny Hardhead would lose his life July 29th of 2018. And unfortunately, 3 years later, Geezy would pass away also on July 13th of 2021. And I'm not sure how he passed away, but it was not violence. But that right there is going to wrap up the story of Geezy from Rollin 40s, aka Tiny Hardhead's blood brother. And may they both rest in peace. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in. But comment, like, and subscribe. It's Respectable Rants.